Hey guys, welcome back to Grab Your Brew with me, Leon. Go ahead and grab a nice steamy hot brew or a glass of wine, maybe even a shot at this point. So I do have the rest of the book. I know where we had some issues last time. My audio was messing up once I got to past the hour mark. But I do have chapters 11 through 19. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Go ahead and grab your brew, like and subscribe. And let's see what this man has to say, because it's rather interesting.
Now, bear in mind, when you're talking about civil lawsuits, you're not looking at criminal action. You're looking at money or information, and in this case, very likely money. I'm sure a lot of y'all remember last week, Tony Busby of the Busby Law Firm announced that there were more than 120 victims that they were getting ready to file lawsuits for. And in those lawsuits, Diddy was not the only one named, that other celebrities, including A-listers, were named as well. And apparently this is making some of these celebrities nervous because they have reached out to a handful of victims trying to settle out of court, basically spending whatever they have to make sure that their name is kept out of the public eye. But it's not just about paying off victims. Apparently there are tapes out there outside of what was confiscated by the feds that show several A-list celebrities, and at least one of those is trying to shop it around to buy it so his name does not get out there. We also know that one of the male celebrities who is allegedly higher profile than Diddy is horrified by this situation, saying that it feels like a betrayal and a violation and that it's causing a lot of stress. Adding that, it brings up some really disturbing and bad memories. That this celebrity felt like he was victimized years ago and is now being victimized yet again, and if this footage gets out, it will follow him for life. It will be on the internet forever. I have an idea who I think that is, but we'll wait to see what comes out.
So we're at a point where a lot of celebrities are trying to pay to get out of court. Like, they don't want it to go to trial, so they're finding the victims, they're trying to pay them off to keep them hush hush, right? And I've said it before. I don't think I've said it on the channel. I've said it before, but BlackRock owns so much. So much. It is ridiculous. And that we thought was Diddy's brand, obviously is not. He's just a spokesperson. Is actually a British owned company, but it comes under the umbrella of a company that is owned by them, right? And on top of that, Diddy trying to file this lawsuit, he bit the hand that fed him, right? So, had he not filed this lawsuit and the hand that's feeding him, probably none of this would have come to light. Imagine, this could have gone on even longer had he not been put on blast. Because let's face it, BlackRock pretty much controls the media. So everybody wants to talk about the Illuminati, but nobody wants to talk about BlackRock because I fear them more than I fear the Illuminati. Don't know about you, but they have way too much power and it gets abused. And we all know that there's always a chain of command, and P. Diddy is high up there, but once he realized just how powerful the powers that be are, he went ahead and tried to drop the lawsuit. But at that point, it was probably too late.
Ever since Diddy was arrested, a lot of people have been asking and making theories on what was it that tipped the feds off. According to the attorney who's filing the 120 cases against Diddy and others, he said that the earliest case he has stems back to 1991, which is over 3 decades ago. And like I said before, these rumors have been around for a long time, so why did the feds decide to go after him now? Well, according to Uncle Luke, Eddie Griffin, and 50 Cent, Diddy is in this situation because he decided to bite the hand that fed him. When you think of Diddy, a lot of things come to mind, and one of those things happens to be Ciroc. And while Diddy had been promoting Ciroc for many years, he actually didn't own it. Ciroc is actually owned by a British company called Diageo, whose market cap stands at $77.73 billion, making it the 245th most valuable company in the world. And when you look at the top shareholders of this company, you see some familiar names. Last year, Diddy was on Invest Festival and he was talking about the fact that when he decided to partner with Diageo, he saw that Ciroc was losing $4 million a year. Diddy told them he could turn things around for them, so they structured a deal where he becomes the face and he gets a certain amount whenever he sells Ciroc. Diddy now being kind of like the face of Ciroc, they went from selling 40,000 cases a year to 2.6 million cases. During this appearance, Diddy said after 15 years of success, he was still fighting to not have Ciroc be pigeonholed as a black or urban brand. Now in 2013, Diddy and Diageo decided to purchase the brand De Leon, and Diddy owned 50% of that brand. Over time, Diddy started to realize that what was happening with Ciroc was happening with De Leon, and then filed a lawsuit against Diageo in May of 2023. During 50 Cent's appearance at Invest Festival, he said that Diddy's issues started when he partnered with Diageo with De Leon. He said these people have really strong connections and don't think your civil case is not going to turn into a criminal case really fast because you are making them uncomfortable. Eddie Griffin made a video where he said Diddy messed up when he decided to sue that liquor company. He said that that company is owned by the biggest conglomerate on earth, which is the BlackRock people, and he bit the hand that fed him. He said Diddy's ego got out of hand. He was controlling every aspect of his life, and he thought he could control these people as well. According to Uncle Luke, the second that Diddy got in trouble with the feds, the first thing that came to mind was Diageo, saying these are some of the most powerful people in the world. You can't come after them and think they're not going to come after you. He said that they practically own senators, that they can call up the president, and don't think that they didn't pick up the phone and say, hey, we need you to put pressure on Diddy. If you look at the timeline of everything, Diddy had filed a lawsuit against Diageo back in May of 2023. Cassie then filed her lawsuit against Diddy in November of 2023, which he settled within 24 hours. And then in January, he drops his lawsuit against Diageo. A lot of people are believing that Diddy dropped that lawsuit against Diageo when they realized just how much power they had. But at that point, it was too late. Now, obviously, with everything that Diddy has allegedly done over the past several decades, he's exactly where he belongs. But it is really scary when you realize how much power certain people really have.
Take your eyes off his eyes, or you might just miss it.
Final question, is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
I keep everything right here. Or right here.
There you go. That's how you
Boys, I never noticed that. Wow. Like she said, it's absolutely terrifying when you realize how much power people really have. So we're going to go ahead and pick up from where I left off on the audio. It is still the end of chapter 10 because I was reading a book on my Audible product placement on my phone. My phone died, so I switched over to my laptop where I was recording, and the audio was messed up as I was going through it because I was playing the Audible at the same time, and something with my settings just didn't like it. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. So yeah, let's go ahead and dig right back into this book because I promise you, it gets juicy. Scary, but juicy. His emotional manipulation was really driving me crazy. This time, I said with much more conviction, "Goodbye, Sean." I hung up. Manipulative bastard. For a while, I was actually happy to see Sean gone. I was getting older, and the sex parties were out of control. It was getting time for me to slow down. Quincy was getting older. I knew that if I kept going, the rumors circulating were eventually going to find a way to get back to him. What will he think of me? Chris is about to take his trip to California. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen out there, but I felt like Tiana Wallace was about to be an orphan. I knew I didn't want any ties to that. As I was sitting there contemplating all this in my robe, sipping on my wine, on this Friday evening, my doorbell rings. I was not expecting company. I opened the door and found Sean. My heart skipped a beat. I was shocked, but I recovered quickly and forced a smile, with a slightly slurred speech. "I am way more intoxicated than I thought." Sean entered, looking around suspiciously, then turned to me and smiled, saying, "You haven't been returning my calls. I just wanted to make sure you're okay." I'm fine. He obviously was not here out of concern. He was checking to see who was here. Sean was controlling like that. Yes, even though we weren't together and he was dating somebody else. He started to make his way to the living room, and I attempted to put a quick end to the violence. But it came out a little more directly than I intended. So since you can see I'm fine, you can let me go to bed now. Part of me wanted him to stay. As he entered the living room, I was forced to follow. Sean was very direct with his next inquiry. Is someone else waiting for you? No. But Sean, we're not together. You're dating someone else, and I can F whoever I choose. With this, Sean became irate. He fiercely slammed me to the ground. Then he pulled out a 22 and sat it on the end table. He turned to me calmly. I was scared. My voice quivered as I pleaded to him. Sean, please stop. Quincy is here. How did we get here? How did we get to the point that he was in my living room threatening me with a gun? He nailed on one knee and got right in my face to say, You're mine. You don't have a choice in that now. I can't live without you. He stood up, composing himself. I was terrified as I whimpered, Sean, that's not love. Sean picked up his gun and cocked it. He looked at me almost thoughtfully and asked, Have you ever heard, if I can't have you, no one can? Sean, please don't, please. Quincy will hear. Sean smiled and put the gun away, saying, Oh, this is just for dramatic effect. I would never shoot you. If I was going to kill you, no one would trace it to me. You know how many people I've had to take care of over the years? It'll be quiet, something in your food or drink. Something that will never get back to me. I wouldn't shoot you, do you understand? I could only nod, tears flowing down my cheeks. He looked at me thoughtfully as he reached down to help me up. I could do nothing but agree. He's a terrifying monster. And now he wanted to smooth it over, and I had to go along with it. What else could I do? Listen, baby, I don't ever want to hurt you. You know I really love you, or I would have moved on. Thinking about living my life without you is just too hard. If someone ever tried to hurt you, I would kill them. My back hurt from where I hit it on the table when he shoved me. All I could do as he helped me up was not that I understood, through my streaming tears, which he wiped. He looked towards Quincy's room. Let me say goodbye. No, Sean, please. Thinking quickly, he has to get up in the morning. Sean looked at me with an unreadable look. He was studying me. Okay, I'm gonna go. Nervously, I walked him to the front door. No, thank God this is over. He kissed me. I didn't want him touching me, but I couldn't refuse. Kiss Quincy for me. I tried to keep my composure as I replied, Sean Sean. He opened the door to leave. The bodyguard that was waiting outside escorted him to the car. This was far worse than I realized. Why would he need a bodyguard at my front door? How was he anticipating this go? If I shut the door, I had another drink. For tonight, the nightmare was over. I sipped on my wine and cried. The next few days, he sent dozens of flowers. He brought Quincy expensive toys. He didn't want me. He wanted me to keep his secret. I'm trapped. He has authorities under his thumb. I can't go to them. This is like a gangster movie. How high up does his power go? How far is his reach? The FBI, the CIA, who was not corrupted, or who won't be silenced by that upper chain of command? Can anybody help me and my child? He found his way back to my bed. I had no choice. Chapter 12. A Mama's Love. The calamity that ensued between the death of Biggie shook the East Coast. It rocked me as well. Sean could have stopped it. He was complicit. He was a contributor. He knew what was going to happen and didn't stop it. This was his friend. No, they were not nearly as close as Sean would have the public believe, but still, as far as Sean was concerned, we were great. To the public, we were just having that off, on again relationship of a normal couple. And I probably just seemed like a money hungry hoe, but the truth is, I just got used to not having a choice. Today I recognize it from what it was: Stockholm Syndrome. I was at his beck and call and had become comfortable with it. Quincy had everything he could ever want, with exception, of course, of a normal parental figure. That is why this chapter is so powerful for me. A mother's love is so real. One night I was out with my boyfriend. Yes, we were on again. We were joined for dinner by none other than Miss Wallace. Sean looked over at security, allowed Miss Wallace to approach the table and sit. Miss Wallace spoke with a smile. Hi, Sean. Hi, Kim. I smiled the best I could with the situation for all intents purposes. She is sitting with her son's killer. I hope my voice didn't betray my feelings as I said, Hi, Miss Wallace. Sean smiled also as he said, Hello, Miss Wallace. What can I do for you? When I got your call, it sounded urgent. He was able to appear as if he was smiling warmly. This was the creepiest situation of my life. She looked at Sean with pleading eyes. I know this isn't your problem, but things have gotten kinda hard. I was hoping that you can send some of that money Chris made with you this way. Sean shook his head. That's nothing I can just do. There are attorneys and accountants. Can I maybe help you out with a little something to get you past the hump? Sean reached into his pocket to dig for his wallet. I haven't seen how much Chris left. It's going on 2 years. Just how long is this going to take, Sean? Sean sighed. These things are difficult, Miss Wallace. I don't know. The attorneys don't make this easy. Miss Wallace pushed further. I don't understand what was so difficult. He worked for you. He made his money. Where is it? Sean shook his head as if saddened by what he was saying as he continued. It's not like I could just give you his money. You're entitled to a certain amount, and they're just trying to figure out what that amount is. I don't mean to sound cruel, but it wouldn't be fair to me to just give you tons of money. You got rich off my son, and now you're keeping all of his money? Sean kept his cool as he replied, I'm afraid business isn't that cut and dry, Miss Wallace. I pay for publishing, publicity. I mean, in all actuality, if I'm going to be straightforward, Miss Wallace, Chris probably owed me money. I wouldn't know until it's all worked out. The anger in Miss Wallace's voice barely overshadowed the pain, or perhaps it magnified it, as she uttered the only words she could muster. You bastard. Sean didn't flinch. He just said, Look. Look at the contract. I'm honestly trying to get him as much as possible out of it. But I have investors. I can't just take money that doesn't belong to him and start giving it away. Miss Wallace exploded and responded, You know good and well. Chris didn't owe you a damn thing. Sean stared at her straight in the eye, unwavered, and said he would have started making a profit after a few years. His money until his album sales, pay for studio time, music videos, publishing, and marketing would have come from doing shows. I'm sorry he isn't here to make that money. I miss him. Her response was deadpan. Did you kill my son? Momentarily, Sean was stung into silence. She asked again, her voice quivering. Did you? Miss Wallace. She would not be redirected. Answer the question. I was not used to seeing Sean on the defense. Oh, no, of course not. She looked at him with spite, the anger in her voice enough to send shivers down my spine as she replied, with only a menace that a mother can. I don't believe you, Sean. He looked at her with a sadness that I knew in my soul to be fake. Although looking at him without context, anyone would believe him, as he replied, I'm sorry to hear that. Today I know he was able to muster that false sincerity because he's a sociopath. Back then I thought it was compassion. With no more words, Miss Wallace stood up and laughed. Sean watched her exit with disbelief, not knowing what to do. I placed my order. Dinner that night was long and silent. I feared for Miss Wallace's life. Sean is most dangerous when he feels threatened. No, she could not physically threaten him, but this threat was very real. If she goes public with her accusations, Sean's image will be damaged. Things he would go through in order to protect his image. Chapter 13 have some things he would faith. The fact of the matter is, Sean was a complete control freak. He was absolutely the worst, but of all the things he did for control, this might have been one of the most despicable ones. We were in the bad boy office one evening, sitting in the lounge area enjoying a meal. Sean was smoking one of those big cigars when Faith entered and sat down with us. She said, "Hey guys," I smiled. I never had a bad vibe from the marvelous Faith Evans. We never talked about the wild times the three of us shared at one of Sean's parties. I gave her a hug. "Hey girl, what's up?" Sean smiled and asked, "Hey, what brings you out?" She addressed Sean, saying, "Look, when you asked me to hook up with Chris, I understood you needed to control him. I felt honored that you would choose me to monitor one of your most valuable assets." "Chris is sweet," Sean laughed. "And honestly, I knew you would be good, make the big female feel loved." "I don't feel good about all this, Sean." Sean got that look in his eyes that he gets before he blows his top. Faye saw it also. She treaded carefully. "Sean, you know I'm as loyal as a con." Sean leaned forward, unintentionally threatening, and said in a low tone, "Yeah." "But Sean, Chris and I had a child together." Sean leaned back and let out a deep breath. "I'm going to take care of you. You're not like Chris. You're loyal." Faith had a tear in her eye as she responded, "He didn't have to die." This game very touchy. Did she know? Did she suspect? Was this her trying to find out if Sean intentionally killed Biggie? I wanted to ask, but of course there was no way of doing that. This is so crazy. Sean sighed and replied, "He didn't. Don't get me wrong. I miss him. But he was leaving me anyway. No one cares about my pain." Classic narcissistic Sean. It's all about him. I was sickening for a moment. But his next sentence made me feel for him anyway. I want to share all this with him. He was my man. Faith couldn't hide the anger that flared in her eyes, but she knew who she was talking to. She was careful when she spoke. "Sean, you have friends you share things with." Sean leaned forward again, this time with malicious intention, as he queried, "What the F is that supposed to mean?" "Chris had no one, only you." Sean lost it. "That fat F and that other piece of ish?" "I had you F," I interjected while in shock. "You had her F pack?" Sean glared at me as he answered, "Yes, F and pack. Those mother effers were going to try their own label and compete with me. Me, after all I did for that fat F. Nah, I wasn't using resources to protect that mother effer. No effing way." Faith started to cry. Sean looked at her and softened slightly. He spoke a little calmer. "Look, I didn't hate him, I was hurt, but I didn't hate him. I'll make sure you and CJ are taken care of." Without word, Faith got up to leave. As she turned, Sean spoke softly. "Faith." She ignored him. He called her again. "Faith." She exited quietly. Sean just looked at me and said, "Damn." I really didn't know what to say. Sean just told Faith that she wouldn't protect her husband because he was going to leave Bad Boy. From a business perspective, I didn't disagree with Sean there. If you're leaving and creating competition for him, why would he spend resources on you? So I hugged Sean. But I also knew he didn't have to send Chris to California. I wondered if he realized he sentenced him to death. He hugged me back with tears in his eyes and asked, "How the am I the bad guy? I effing do nothing but bust my ass to make everybody live comfortably. And I'm supposed to just let ends walk all over me?" As I held him in a comforting embrace, I replied, "No, baby." He took me right there on the couch. Like I said, Stockholm Syndrome. Chapter 14. This particular evening I was at Sean's house. Quincy was staying with a friend. It was summer alone time for Sean and I until the doorbell rang. Sean got up to answer it. I heard a woman yelling and quick realized that it was Jennifer Lopez, or better known to the world as J-Lo. "Sean, what the F?" Sean responded calmly, "Relax, baby. Why did you have to start shooting? Isn't that what we have bodyguards for?" Normally, when these kind of situations arise, I remain quiet and just listen. I play my position. You can say, but I wasn't paying attention to the news for the last day or so. And even though it would be all that anyone would talk to me about for months, no one had spoken to me about it yet. So I entered the foyer asking what's going on. Jennifer exploded at me. What's going on? What's going on? This end shut up the damn club. My jaw dropped, looking back and forth between the two. Sean spoke soothingly. Jen, you gotta calm down. Jennifer was having none of it. She continued, calm down, calm down. You shot a bunch of innocent people, Sean. Sean placed his hand on her forearm. It's a bonding technique. He was shrewd in handling her. He does this to me too. Even if you know what's happening, it works. It's intimate contact without being personal. He is aiming to disarm her. This did not seem to immediately sway Jennifer as she continued. Why the hell do you think Bigger's replacement will take the fall for you? Wait, could she be talking about, are you talking about Shine? Jennifer didn't even look at me as she responded, yes, effing Shine. Sean continued to calm and even voice, relax, the situation is under control. Jennifer was not coming down. She went on. They contacted my attorney for my statement, and there's a lot of witnesses, Sean. There's no way you're going to get away with this, Sean. Sean's arrogance can be immeasurable at times. He laughed as he asked, you doubted me? I couldn't believe it. I had to know. Sean, what could you offer him that would make him do a bid for you? Like what the F? Jennifer also remarked. And what if he falters halfway through his sentence and starts talking, Sean? Sean responded as calmly as ever. He won't do that. People in jail don't cross-connected people on the outside. Jennifer looked deflated. So, you'll kill him too? How much does she know? Look, I'm not going to threaten anybody. Shine is smart and loyal. He knows how it works. And when he gets out, he will be well taken care of. Jennifer spoke defiantly. Sean, they want to question me. I'm not perjuring myself. I am not going to jail over this. Sean seemed so in control. I admire him for it. At this point, but my spirit was broken. I felt bad for Jennifer. She catches one bad break after another. And this was a really bad break. Sean spoke with confidence. Relax. Come in and have a drink. Have your lawyers call me. You'll never see the witness stand, I promise you. Jennifer wasn't so sure. She asked him, how can you possibly know that? Sean smiled and replied, between Shine's confession and a witness that gave their accounts, the cops won't need much else. The statement from your lawyer will be fine. Jennifer's next concern popped up. She explained, my attorney, Sean. He's good, but he won't do this. Beaming with confidence the way only a man with his net worth can, he responded, sure he will. Jennifer shook her head defiantly as he responded, Sean, you don't know him. Sean's unbreakable confidence was ruling the day. Jennifer was giving in as he told her with a smile, I got this. Sean, are you sure? Sean gave a wink. My attorneys handle situations. Give him my number too. Jennifer seemed leery as she asked, you're not going to threaten my attorney? Sean laughed and replied, no, of course not. Money talks, baby. She turned to me and said, take her inside and pour her a drink. Oh, but you're going to make Shine the go-to labels, man? What are you going to do now? Sean looked disappointed as he responded. He had the voice, but his flow, he sighed, while artists with his talent are a dime a dozen. Looking at Jen, he continued, he's not a once-in-a-lifetime find like Jennifer Lopez. Now he's throwing on the charm. Despite the situation, she blushed slightly. Sean continued, let's grab that drink. Let me handle this attorney situation. Relax, don't worry. He left the foyer and went to have a seat in the living room. He tried to make a threesome happen that night. It didn't work out. Not that day. Chapter 15, Queen Bitch. Kimora Sims and I went out to have drinks. She was looking at me seductively and I was turned on. We were going to go back to my place afterwards, but suddenly, after a sip of my drink, I felt like I had to vomit. I excused myself and barely made it to the ladies' room. When I came back, Kimora asked, you feeling okay? I'm fine. I've been under the weather for the last couple of days. I think I'll head home. She said, your breasts are looking kind of plump there, girl. Embarrassed, I whispered, not in public. She replied simply, are you pregnant? I was taken completely aback. Why the hell would you say that? She let it sit there for a minute. I banged her head. She was like, wait for it, then it hit. Shit. Oh. She gave me a minute before continuing. So what you gonna do? I didn't understand. Gonna do? If it's not Sean's, fuck. If it is, with the shock wearing off, the scope of the situation began to take hold. I responded, I better get a test. She looked at me with pity. Damn, girl. Good luck. After what he did with Chris, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. The desire that was in her eyes before I got sick was all begun. As I began to stand, I realized what she said to me, and I paused. She looked at me flatly and said, Ain't nobody stupid, girl. I didn't know what to say. The question still lingered in my mind, despite everything I knew. Did Puffy intentionally kill Chris? She brought me back to the moment by saying, Go, not knowing what else to say. But knowing I had to deal with my situation right now, I replied, I'll hit you up. She sighed and simply repeated, Good luck. 16. Christian. The next day I was sitting on my couch deep in thought when my doorbell rang. I went to let Shine in. This is going to be scary. We made our way back to the living room, and we sat down. Quincy was asleep. 16. Sean seemed legitimately concerned. What's so urgent? I didn't know what else to do. I just blurted it out. Sean's pregnant. So thick. The air in the room was as thick as J-Lo. He was quiet. He asked the obvious question. Are you sure? I spoke rapidly. I was on the pill. I'll get rid of it. I'm sorry. I just wanted you to know. That's wonderful. This is great. I was so confused. Huh? You're not mad? He laughed. Mad? No, why would I be mad? At this wonderful news, I'm going to be a dad. With the woman I love bearing my child. What could possibly be better? He jumped right on the phone and called one of his besties. I could hear Will Smith congratulating him. Sean said, Yeah, definitely, hold on. Kim, baby? I was still in awe that he didn't get angry. And yes, I will admit, I was sure he was going to hit me, so it was with relief. When I replied yes, he told me excitedly, We gotta have a party. His excitement was contagious. I was getting real excited too. Yes, a gender reveal. He cut me off. Yes, of course, we're doing all of that, but everyone is going to want to sleep with you right before you give birth. My heart sank in my chest. Everybody is going to want to what? Sean went on with that same excitement. Well, not everybody, you know. Will, Jada, X. Sean, I'm having your baby. He verbally weighed me out. It'll be fine. I couldn't help myself. I just started crying. Sean grew quiet on the phone. I'll call you back. He hung up and took me by my hand. Baby, I'll never ask anything from you. I tried to see him through the tears streaming down my face. I couldn't believe the words coming out of his mouth. I tried to speak. Sean, he cut me off. I provide everything anybody could ever want. Do you want for anything? Sobbing, I replied, no. But he continued, this is the kind of thing I have to do in order to continue giving you this comfortable lifestyle where you live on a life of luxury and get to be on TV shows and in movies. I know you don't want this, but do you want all of this to go away? A whimper is all I could manage. No. He continued softly. Then we got to do this. I said, but Sean, I don't believe in all this spiritual crazy-ish. We got here because you're brilliant, not because of sex parties. Sexual rituals right there.
Will be exposed.
I mean, when I walk in, I definitely take pride in being the originator of the preparation of the sex. Little things that I personally like. A lot of ladies, they just, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
P. Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
was broken. He sighed and he said, then let's do what we need to do to keep everything we have. As I nodded yes, he pulled me in to hug me. Thank you, baby. We're going to have a beautiful baby. He ordered me some food that night. I cried myself to sleep. I was going to be gangbanged at 9 months pregnant. I want my child out of this life. My child's going to have a good biblical name, a heavy Christian name. They're not going to take his soul. Chapter 17, Broken Promises. I don't know how this managed to stay out of the media for so long, but Sean got to the point where he was incredibly abusive, and only his inner circle knew about it. The artists were all too afraid of him to say anything. He had gained so much power, no one would say anything. Puff Daddy was a kingpin. This Monday morning, Quincy was at school, and our son Christian was with the nanny, and I still had to make a living. I still loved the camera, and had just been casted for a new movie. Sean was going over to celebrate with me, just the two of us. I was in the bathroom when he came in. We were supposed to go out for dinner, but he was in a foul mood. Sean yelled, "What the F?" I would have to walk on eggshells as I came out of the bathroom. But I found him holding flowers, so I smiled. "You brought me flowers?" Sean yelled, "No." "So who the F are they from?" I was bewildered and told him honestly, I don't know. Probably just a fan. He threw the attached card at me. I picked it up to read it. Sean. He slapped me so hard I hit the ground. Sean yelled, "Who the F were you with the other night?" I looked down at the card that was lying down on the ground next to me, and it read, "The other night was amazing. We must do it again." Ish, I tried to explain. Sean. He threw the flowers at me. "That's not how this works. You had my child. You don't touch anyone unless I allow it." I yelled back. "It was just coffee with the producer. It was nothing." He glared back at me and said, "Who the F is this producer?" I tried desperately to calm him down. As I responded, "From the movie, babe, calm down." He picked up my coffee mug and slammed it against the wall. Coffee flew everywhere as he yelled, "Who the F is this Ann? Think he is?" "Sean, he's just a producer. We've talked about the role, and me may be starring in another movie that he wants to produce." "I swear, that's it, Sean." Sean exploded even more. "He wants to put the move on my effing family at the top of his lungs. At the top of his lungs, my effing family?" He flipped the table over, breaking it. It was a heavy table, but Sean is stronger than he looks. I pleaded with him. "Sean, please." He yelled at me, "What?" I tried my best to calm him down. He probably didn't know. "It didn't come up. You're publicly dating someone else," so he screamed at me. And it somehow seemed even more intense. "So you didn't tell him back off?" "Sean, I didn't." Then out of nowhere, he hit me with a chair. I don't remember anything after that until I woke up in the hospital room. My arm was in a cast hanging from a sling. My face hurt. My eyebrow was in intense pain, as was my lip. As I came to, the first face that I saw was the man that put me here. Sean asked me with concern in his voice, "How are you feeling?" I responded, "Stay away from me." "I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me." "Save it for the lawyer. Stay away from me." We were in a private hospital room and no one would hear me. I could scream like my life depended on it, but it wouldn't matter. If I did ring for assistance, I wouldn't get any. He kept going. I was just so jealous, you know how I am. He took hold of my left arm, the one that was not slung in a cast. "You have our beautiful son. Our family is just—" At that point, I had enough. "The one you slutted out right before giving birth? Are you effing shitting me? Stay away from me. Don't come near me. Or my kids." He continued to plead, "I'm sorry, baby. I promise. I swear I've heard this song one too many times." I spoke through gritted teeth. "If you come near me or my kids again, I'm calling the cops." A flash of anger returned. You would use my kids to threaten me? But then he caught himself. I understand you're angry. I glared at him as I cut him off. I'm serious, Sean. He spoke blandly with no energy. And tell them what? That you had a car accident? They'll pity you. That you hit your head? He was going to make me look crazy. They were going to believe him. He was a kingpin. You're a effing bastard. Sean spent the next 6 months helping me heal and working his way back into my life and into my bed. I was so damn stupid, and of course, I wasn't cast for either movie. From what I understand, the producer died of pneumonia. He didn't. Ended up pregnant again. He wanted energy from that too. That would be my last sex party. My body will never be ravished by so many people again, especially while I'm pregnant. What if something happened to the twins? After that, I wanted out, but when I tried dating someone else, they would end up dead from pneumonia. I knew Sean was behind it. This was not a coincidence. He gets jealous of a guy and they die of pneumonia. I could be next. If I'm going to get out of this alive, I'm going to have to do something to make him stay away from me. I had a plan, but it was dangerous. Sean has a vault where he keeps a videotape of all his conquests. I started sleeping with him again. After he falls asleep, he was starting to drink heavily. I would get into the vault and get a couple of tapes, take them home, make copies, and swap them for the next set of tapes. A few days later, it took weeks to get them all copied, and he never knew I had them. This was my way out. Some of the tapes had things I would have never have expected. Gay parties are one thing, but the young boys, like Usher, Lil Bow Wow, Justin Bieber, I would have never have known. My God, is he grooming Quincy? This has to end. I invited him over one day to confront him and put an end to our on again, off again relationship. He entered my house on the ninth for the last time. He would no longer have a key after today. I was in the kitchen. Kamara and I were sharing drinks. I was scared to face him alone. Sean entered, smiling. What's up, Kimmy? Hey, Kamara. I told Sean to sit down because my tone he looked at me stunned and asked what's going on. What is this? I responded with delight. Me taking my life back. We're done. He answered, hold on, wait a minute. I was so excited that I wasn't hearing any of it. I shouted at him, no, no more. This is effing over. He looked confused as he asked me, where's all this coming from? With disgust, I said, I got effing footage, Sean. He looked even more confused as he inquired, what are you talking about? Kamara said with revulsion. Usher too? Sean said, wait, what the F is going on? Sean stood aggressively and Kamara responded, don't make me call the cops. Sean's anger was creeping in as he replied, this is how it is? I simply nodded. If anything happens to either one of us, it gets released. He sighed as he queried, after all I've done for you? I don't think I was ever so happy as when I said those words to him. Get out. Pissed, he started to look back with pure hatred. As he walked down the stairs, he turned around in a fury and lunged at me. He knocked me down near the top of the stairs. I was hurt. Kamara screamed, stop. As he began to crouch over me, I kicked at him, hitting him in the kneecap, then his face. He went tumbling down the stairs. He was too hurt to get up. I'll call the cops. Kamara left before they arrived. When he left, it was in an ambulance. I felt empowered. I felt safe, but Sean Combs' days had finally come to an end. Chapter 19. Finale. Finally, my life was getting back to normal, and I started dating again. It was almost normal until I got serious with someone. Then my boyfriend would die of pneumonia. I knew it was Sean again. That's when I decided to write this book. A few days ago, my home was burglarized. Only laptops were stolen. I know it was that bastard or his goons. Of course, I had a copy in the cloud that I was able to easily download here onto my new computer. As I continue to write now, I'll send this into the cloud as well. I will send out copies via email, and my Google Drive password will be attached so the missing chapters can be accessed. This book must get out. There are so many more chapters to add. This outline is a great start. After organizing, I have to organize the rest of the chapters and add them in little by little. I plan on spending today working on exactly that. But I'm not feeling very well. Thank God the kids aren't here this weekend, so I can rest. I called Kamara to cancel our attentive plans for a meetup. When I spoke to her, she said, "Girl, that doesn't sound like the flu. You want to go to the hospital?" That didn't immediately alarm me. "I just need some rest," I told her, and quickly got the phone. But why can't I get my doctor? Why won't he pick up the phone? Oh no, I called about Sean from my bedroom, where I'm lying in my bed. All I could think about was the kids, my babies, who are with this monster, that man that I now suspect of having done this to me. Sean picked up with an air of superiority in his voice that let me know it was too late for me. He spoke confidently into the phone. "Hello?" I screamed at him. "You bastard. I have your effing children." "What are you talking about? The kids are with me," he replied with a mocking innocence. "There's literally nothing I could do." I only asked, "Did you ever love me?" Instead of answering the question, he responded, "The most important thing to me in the world is loyalty." I couldn't believe it. I had to ask, even though I understood. "What the F does that mean?" With the same faint innocence, he mocked Kim. "Is something wrong?" "He's going to continue this game till the bitter end." I asked one last time, "How could you?" Again with the narcissism I have now come to despise, he responded, "How could I? Do what? I gave you everything. You went to someone else. You left me, just like everybody else did. You asked, how could I? How could I what?" I yelled. "Look what you did to everyone around you." There was only anger in his response. "So you're saying everyone leaves because of how I am? And you were going to expose me?" He had me burglarized. I knew it. I shouldn't have threatened him. I should have just published a book. I'm going to die like Heavy D, like Biggie, like Pac, like so many others, and it's because he is a monster, plain and simple. Before hanging up, I simply say, "That's not the only copy, you F." Then I shoot out a group text. I let everyone know he got me. Then I call 911. As I sit here waiting for the ambulance, I am writing this chapter and praying that I make it to the hospital. I don't feel like writing anymore. I may not be around to see it in print. It's okay. I'm sending him out. He won't get away with this. I will have to say my final words. Sean Combs will get exposed even if I lose my life doing it. My kids have always been my most cherished possessions. I want the world to know that, but more importantly, I want them to know. And that is the end, guys.
Corey Gamble was even on the scene when coroners arrived to retrieve Kim Porter's lifeless body out of her home.
Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create a heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms.
The book basically answers a lot of the questions that we've all had for years since the 90s. But some people are saying it's real, some people are not. But I believe there's some truth in all of it. It may not be verbatim true, but it's definitely a whole lot of truth in there. Told you guys it was going to get juicy, right? So go ahead and like and subscribe. And thank you for grabbing a brew with me. I really appreciate you guys. I'm aiming to get to 100 followers as soon as possible. For some reason, I don't remember it getting. I don't remember it being this slow to get followers because I do have a children's channel, but of course, can't be posting P. Diddy on a toddler channel now. Come on now, guys. But if you do have some tots and you want them to be read stories by a British girl, moi. It also has children's books I've written myself, but on YouTube, the handle for that is at Living My Best Life LLC. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me again. Please like and subscribe, show some support, and go ahead and just tickle that little bell if you want to keep updated on this juicy stuff. I also have another case coming out too. I'm not going to tell you which one, but it is a current case because I do have my son's birthday this weekend. So, fun times. Bye, guys. Thank you.